Lean in closely, dear viewer, for what you're about to hear treads the fine line between historical truths and the realm of the imaginative. While anchored in authentic discoveries, today's tale ventures boldly into the world of what-ifs. Can you decipher where fact ends and fiction begins? So without further ado, let's journey together through the enigmatic corridors of the city beneath the sands. In the shadow of the Great Pyramids, near Luxor, Egypt, Dr. Aisha El-Masri and her team has recently made a profound discovery. The Golden City, an ancient site that promised mysteries beyond any traditional Egyptian find. The age-old sands revealed structures and streets, a window into an ancient time. But among these time-worn relics, Dr. El-Masri discovered something unexpected. Among the familiar hieroglyphics, she found writings that didn't belong to any known human civilization. These odd and unfamiliar symbols were interwoven with hieroglyphics. The team was puzzled. These symbols didn't fit any known script. Days turned into nights as they sat under makeshift tents, sifting through old books, cross-referencing with databases, and discussing heatedly. Deciphering the script became an obsession. Expert linguists, historians, and codebreakers were summoned, and after tireless nights and countless debates, they still could not piece together fragments of the text. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desert, Aisha and her team gathered inside a large tent, its interior illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns. Spread out before them on a makeshift table were a series of cryptic clues, documents with strange symbols, odd relics with engraved patterns, and a scroll with faded writings. Dr. Rajan, their linguistic expert, furrowed his brow, frustration evident on his face. "These symbols," he murmured, "they're unlike anything we've encountered. They're older, more intricate." Aisha's gaze intensified. Every moment they spent decoding was a moment closer to discovery, but also a moment closer to danger. Rumors had spread of shadowy figures tailing them, and unmarked vehicles had been spotted on the desert's edge. Outside, the howling wind seemed to whisper threats, and every noise made them jump. Their satellite phones, meant to be their connection to the outside world, had suspiciously lost signal, isolating them further. The pressure was palpable. As they pieced together fragments of information, racing against an unseen clock in the impending threat of capture, the weight of their mission bore heavily on their shoulders. The desert, once a place of wonder and discovery, now felt like a vast open prison from which they needed to escape, with the truth in hand. Finally, after days of intensive study, Dr. Rajan, a linguistic expert, unlocked some of the symbols. In a place where the sky met the sand, clock of threshold could be found. Emboldened, Aisha rallied her team for a journey deeper into the Sahara. They packed jeeps with supplies, water, food, tools, and maps. The desert isn't a place to venture into unprepared. Sandstorms threaten their progress, sometimes reducing visibility to just a few feet. But after days of travel to southwest, guided by the deciphered clues, they found another site in a cave. This wasn't like any other. Alien in architecture, it was clear this wasn't a creation of human hands. Amidst these structures was a pulsating mechanism. Unlike anything they had ever seen, it hummed, emitted soft light, and was surprisingly warm to the touch. This mechanism pulsated with an unknown energy. They attempted to understand it. Dr. Kim, an engineer, speculated it could be a power source, noting its rhythmic pulse. Dr. Lopez, with a background in anthropology, wondered if it was a form of communication device. Preliminary analysis estimated its age astonishingly around 34 million years, coinciding with the Eocene-Oligocene extinction event, an epoch when Earth underwent significant climatic changes and many species vanished. However, their time to explore was short-lived. Within 2 days, not so well-known global agency, one that operated in the shadows of geopolitics, swarmed the site, marking it off limits. It was clear this was bigger than just an archaeological find. Aisha and her team were sidelined, but not for long. Their expertise was needed when it was discovered that the mechanism had a function. It seemed to count in real time. The cave was filled with an uneasy silence as the team huddled around the mechanism. Its soft, rhythmic pulsations illuminated their faces in the dim light, casting an otherworldly glow. Dr. Kim, the engineer, was the first to observe a pattern in the pulsations. Every few seconds, the mechanism's rhythmic pulse would alter ever so slightly, as if adjusting to some unseen variable. Picking up a tablet, Dr. Lopez began to cross-reference the pulsation intervals with real-time global data. "Look at this," she murmured, her voice edged with disbelief, pointing to the screen where a live world population counter was running. Every time there was a birth or a death reported on Earth, the mechanism seemed to resonate, either speeding up or slowing down its pulsations. The team watched, spellbound. They began conducting tests, streaming live news, monitoring global birth and death databases, even tracking a live feed from a maternity ward in a remote location. Each time, the mechanism's rhythm synced impeccably. Every birth made it beat faster. Every death caused a slight delay. Aisha took a deep breath, her fingers trembling as she touched the pulsating mechanism. "It's as if this entity is connected to every living human," she whispered. "It knows, feels, and responds to each life and each passing." The weight of their discovery pressed heavily on the room. The implications were staggering. Was this ancient technology designed to monitor humanity? And if so, by whom and for what purpose? The questions multiplied, but answers remained elusive. The atmosphere was thick with tension as the team grappled with the enormity of what they had just uncovered. Every heartbeat, every breath taken on Earth was seemingly intertwined with this alien mechanism buried deep in the sands of Sahara. It was reflecting the number of humans on Earth in real time, but how and why? Another mystery unfolded. Dr. El-Masri overheard one of the secret agents discreetly speaking over a satellite phone. The agent, with a tone of urgency, whispered, "Confirming, we found another one. Inform the Geneva team immediately. This one's counting in real time. They need to expedite the process." The reference to Geneva struck a chord with Dr. El-Masri. Geneva was home to the Large Hadron Collider, LHC. The LHC, a marvel of modern science, had its genesis in the late 1990s and began operations in 2008. But from 2018 to 2021, it was curiously shut down, officially for maintenance and upgrade. Unofficially, the timeline seemed more than coincidental. Though the Golden City was a 2021 discovery, whispers suggested that its existence might have been known to select few a bit earlier. Did the LHC's shutdown correlate with a covert exploration of the Sahara site? Aisha theorized a deep-seated connection. Perhaps the LHC, during its hiatus, was refitted not just for particle experiments, but to interact with this ancient mechanism, to understand or resonate with its technology. The days that followed were a blur of activity. The desert site became a hive of tents, equipment, and personnel. Everyone wanted to understand the mechanism, and as they did, Aisha realized that their discovery could reshape humanity's story. In the dim light of the camp, as the desert winds howled outside, Aisha's satellite phone buzzed with an incoming encrypted message. The number flashing on the screen was unknown to her. She hesitated for a moment, then accepted the call. A distorted voice, masked to conceal identity, spoke in hurried tones. "Dr. El-Masri, you don't know me, but I've been closely monitoring the discoveries you and your team have made in the Sahara." Aisha's pulse quickened. Who was this? An ally? A foe? "Listen closely," the voice continued. "What you've found, the mechanism, it's connected to something we've been studying at the LHC. I can't give you all the details now. They're watching, but there are others." There was a pause, a deep breath on the other side. "The mechanism you've uncovered, it's not the only one. We found one in Amazonian jungles, another in Tibet, and if any of them reaches..." The voice trailed off ominously. The silence was palpable, hanging in the air like a dense fog. Aisha felt a chill run down her spine. "Reaches what?" she whispered, her voice trembling. A static-filled sigh came through. "I can't really tell, but if this happens, we'll see catastrophic consequences beyond comprehension. Everything might be at stake." Before Aisha could press for more, the call was cut abruptly. The only evidence of the conversation was the goosebumps on her skin and the dread pooling in her stomach. Whatever the mechanism was, it was far more significant and dangerous than she had ever imagined. These questions are still in the air. What was the mechanism for? Who built it? And most importantly, what happens if or when they reach certain count? We have a hypothesis, but we are not yet ready to reveal it yet. We'll explore other current events to confirm our understanding of its purpose. Stay with us and stay safe, for as long as you can.